Hello everybody, welcome to The Take. I'm your host Krishna Mano, and as we slowly crawl out of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's another one that is growing exponentially and is beginning to affect people of all ages, whether it be elderly people in supermarkets or young innocent children. And there's no guessing here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mass shootings, especially those that occur at schools.
This is the scene following another mass shooting in the United States, this time in Philadelphia.
2:30 yesterday afternoon when the Washington County Sheriff's Office said deputies responded to a shooting.
One of the teachers killed in the Uvalde mass shooting was laid to rest today. Eva Mireles spent her last moments protecting her students.
Of course, we do have to begin with some serious news.
Absolutely.
This is an update right now on yet another mass shooting, and these are becoming all too common.
To the rallies across the country calling for gun reform in the days following the Uvalde and Buffalo mass shootings.
I've had enough. I have had just enough. This is not how a country is supposed to function. Am I right, Krishna, or am I left?
Yeah, Benny, I don't think that's how it works. Just
You want me to stop
talking?
I'll stop talking. I got you.
Yeah,
I'll stop.
just no. Back to the matter at hand. In 2022, there have already been 300 mass shootings, with 27 of those occurring at schools, the most recent of which happened in Uvalde, Texas, where on May 24th, 19 fourth grade students and 2 teachers were slaughtered by an 18-year-old gunman at Robb Elementary. Do you guys understand how absolutely crazy that is? On average, there have been more mass shootings than days in 2022, and we're barely halfway through the year. Is this normal? No. Should this be normal? Also no. Can we wait around and say that what happens will happen and try to avoid tough conversations? Quite definitely no. For far too long, The Take has tried to stay away from political topics, as I'm only a young 13-year-old who has much more to observe in the world. But gun violence is no longer political, especially when, with the track we're going on right now, me, you, your children, parents, or anyone else can be doing a regular activity, like buying abnormally long spicy sticks from the grocery store, or learning about some dude who got whacked by a cane in Congress for speaking against slavery in history class, and have the risk of being shot and inevitably killed. Political issues are those that can only be solved with governmental resources and aid, but the world of gun violence can be changed by us, the citizens of the United States. And in this episode, I aim to show you how. Let's get into it. Mass shootings have been a problem in America for quite a while, the first one being in 1891, but the issue has only grown over time. In this graph from Rockefeller Institute of Government, we can see that the shootings are now hitting all-time highs, with just 12 mass shootings in a 9-year period between 1966 to 75, but 160 mass shootings between 2011 and 2020, which is a 1,233% increase. And as ResearchGate discovers, this is a problem only found in America. The graph shows the number of mass shootings and resulting deaths in 25 countries between 1983 and 2013. A majority of these countries don't even have shootings, while the US has 550 and Poland is behind with just 80. Why, you ask? Well, let's look for a graph with a shape similar to the first one. So we're looking for an increase. Aha, found one. This is a graph from the Brookings Institute, tracking gun sales over a similar period, 2010 to 2020. And if my glasses aren't failing me, this looks very similar to the Rockefeller graph. Benny, can you fact check that?
Krishna, are you sure those aren't exact duplicates? Because they look pretty darn similar.
Exactly. The BBC found that American citizens own a total of 393 million guns, amounting to about 120.5 guns per 100 residents. To which I must say, dang. And this can have especially harmful impacts on young children who are traumatized about school shootings. Science, a Swedish data analytics research company, confirms that school shootings are only increasing at an unprecedented rate in the US, similar to the rate at which people left Twitter after Elon Musk attempted to buy it. And in 2022, with 27 school shootings in just 6 months, we have already reached the total amount of school shootings as in all 12 months of 2017. In response to a bill promoting background checks, which we will discuss later, an 11-year-old who was in the classroom that faced the most deaths in the Uvalde shooting testified to Congress about her experiences.
And he went to there and shot my teacher and told my teacher goodnight and shot her in the head. And then he shot some of my classmates and the whiteboard. He shot my friend that was next to me. And I thought he was going to come back to the room. So I grabbed the blood and I put it all over me.
If there was something that you want people to know about that day and about you, right? Or things that you want different, what would it be?
To have security.
Do you feel safe at school? Why not?
Because I don't want it to happen again.
And you think it's going to happen again?
Seriously, this is something straight out of a Bruce Willis movie about surviving in a deadly forest, except it's a school, and it's real life. Do you think we want to send an I love you text to our parents, afraid that it may be our last? Or that we want to take the blood of our dying friend just to protect ourselves? But thankfully, the strong leaders of our country are doing everything they can to help support us.
Not to burst your bubble, buddy, but they're really not doing anything, no.
As expected, Ted Cruz, a senator from Texas, proposed a solution to end this problem, to which his failed attempt of a mullet replied, "Ted, I didn't know you could complete much of anything. Even me. Look at me. Do I look complete to you?" But let's look at his solution. Being the bright bulb he is, he declared on May 28th, just 4 days after the Uvalde shooting, that the problem didn't come on the guns, but at the doors. Oh, the evil doors. I should have known it was them all along. Actually, though, the senator said, and I quote, "You want to talk about how we could have prevented the horror that played out across the street? Having one door that goes in and out of the school, having armed police officers at that one door." To which the fire department, who is in charge of running fire drills at schools, responded,
You know what? I just give up. I give up. I don't know what to do anymore.
The Texas Tribune published an article shortly afterwards, titled "Cruz Proposes One-Door Schoolhouses." Experts say that's not a credible solution. Yeah, I don't think we really needed experts to confirm that. Yet the Republican Party, including former President Trump and the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, jumped on board. And that's not all. Newt Gingrich, a former Republican Speaker of the House, pitched in his thoughts. He proposed arming all teachers and giving $500 more to those who comply. Fighting violence with violence. Don't we all love that? MLK and Gandhi had a sobbing session together afterwards, realizing that their entire peaceful doctrine had zero impact. Next thing you know, Ted Cruz will tell Gingrich to arm the singular door as well. But current Republican Minority Leader of the House, Kevin McCarthy, has thought ahead about this. Actually, ever since 2019. He believes that video games involving violence and guns are the root of school shootings, and therefore banning them will be effective. But these video games are played all around the world, with GTA, the most violent of all, being played in 224 countries and islands. Yet none of these other countries have such high mass shooting or school shooting rates. But finally, after so many ideas, terrible ideas, ideas, that is, being lobbed around a bill that endorsed some of the most aggressive gun control measures taken up on Capitol Hill in years, as the Washington Post puts it, has been passed in the House. The bill includes measures like raising the minimum age for the purchase of most semi-automatic rifles to 21 and banning high-capacity ammunition magazines. It passed on a 223 to 204 vote, and it should get by the Senate no problemo.
Not to burst your bubble again, but it's probably not gonna get past the Senate.
The Guardian reports that Democrats will need to get at least 10 Republican senators on board to pass these proposed measures into law, a virtually impossible goal in today's day and age, where partisanship and divide has hollowed out the foundational structure of America. Unfortunately, but clearly, we cannot depend on the very people we are supposed to depend on, our senators and representatives. They are all attempting to either solve the unrelated minor parts of the problem instead of the problem itself, or avoiding the problem altogether. They refuse to solve gun violence because they suck up to their corporate and lobbying donors who give them millions during the campaign season, like the NRA, or National Rifle Association. We have relied on politicians for far too long to use their power to better society by allocating funds and passing legislation that helps end gun violence. And clearly, they have continued to deny the American people's will while serving whichever corporation or advocacy group donates the most money to their campaign. It's quite daunting, actually, to consider the fact that a few senators who oppose background check at gun control legislation in Congress are to blame for the deaths of thousands and potential risks to millions. And although this system, in which just 535 Congress members are able to monopolize millions of American lives and not be held accountable for it, cannot be replaced, we the people have the power to balance it out. It all comes down to our simple foundational right: voting. By ensuring that the Congress people elected in this year's midterms will actually support what saves lives of students who have not yet seen what they can do with them, we can greatly reduce the number of school shootings in America and become somewhat normal again. Well, as normal as America can get, with eating oblong meat packets in dough and throwing bags filled with polystyrene beans onto a wooden board with a hole at the top. But for now, the limited help from elected officials forces us, the citizens of the land of the free and home of the brave, to look at other countries' policies and seek the common sense which leaders of this nation lack. The best example being New Zealand. On March 15, 2019, a gunman shot and killed 51 people and injured 40 at 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. His belief in Islamophobia drove him to carry out the attack, and within just 3 days, the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern convinced her cabinet to reform their gun laws. Soon after, Ardern banned military-style semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines. They are now in an effort to convince every gun-owning New Zealander to get rid of their weapons, even offering to buy them back. This is a common-sense approach, solving the problem before it gets too bad, and ensuring the measures are strict enough so it doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, Switzerland has 2.3 million guns, which is quite a figure, but their strict gun control laws have prevented mass shootings for 21 years. They even have a traditional annual festival for gun-owning 13 to 17-year-olds that dates back to the 1600s. Yet they don't have to worry about a single shooting happening at school. No wonder their biggest concern is not having enough chocolate. To wrap things up, my heart goes out to the school communities of Columbine, Sandy Hook, Parkland, Santa Fe, Oxford, and now Uvalde, and all others who have lost a young loved one to a problem that should have never even existed in the first place. But let's be honest, Thoughts and prayers will get us nowhere. Taking action will. Waiting on a small number of Congress members to fulfill the wish of 89% of Americans who want background checks will get us nowhere, but voting them out will. To the adults watching this, please vote in the midterm election in November with this in mind, because if you don't, in just a few years, we, the school children who are being targeted because of your irresponsible actions, will. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay safe and read the news.